This is Money Talks.
Hi, my name is Ibukun Oyedeji, President CFA Society Nigeria. Join me and a host of other financial industry practitioners for Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria.
Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money. Hello everyone and welcome to Money Talks. Money Talks is brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria and is a financial literacy program. Smart Uzechi is my name. You can call me Captain Smart. Today on the show, Feyi Olusanya, CFA, is my guest. Feyi is a director at S&D Integrated Solutions. She's a finance professional with over 23 years of investment banking and business advisory experience in Nigeria. She was the managing director of ABSA Capital Markets Nigeria Limited, an investment banking boutique firm in Nigeria, a subsidiary of ABSA Group Limited and a former affiliate of Barclays Bank PLC, where she worked for 10 years. She also sat on the boards of ABSA Stockbrokers Limited, Nigeria, a securities trading firm, and ABSA Capital Representative Office Nigeria Limited, both subsidiaries of ABSA Group. Her other work experience includes working at Accenture Nigeria as a management stroke strategy consultant, working with Heirs Alliance, an investment holding company, and leading the corporate finance function for BGL PLC, a boutique Nigerian investment banking firm. Feyi's core strengths are in financial structuring, M&A advisory, capital raising and business development, and is passionate about building sustainable businesses that have positive impact on society. Feyi Olusanya is with me on Money Talks this Monday evening. We're back from our break, really. Feyi, let's make welcome Feyi Olusanya to the program. Good evening to you and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Captain Smart. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you. This is our first program since a 2-week break, so it's refreshing to have someone like you. This evening, our subject of discussion is going to be fixed income investments in light of the current interest rate environment. That's what we're discussing this evening. Fixed income investment in light of the current interest rate environment with Feyi Olusanya. That will be when we return from this very short break. Please do join us again.
Money Talks.
Money Talks.
Money Talks. Money Talks. Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money. Welcome back to Money Talks. It's a financial literacy program brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. You can check out the website at www.cfasocietyng.org, or you can go to LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and X at CFA Society Nigeria. Fixed income investment in light of the current interest rate environment is our subject of discussion, and Feyi Olusanya is my guest. So Feyi, let's start this evening by asking you to tell us exactly what fixed income investments are and how do they actually differ from other types of investments out there.
Okay, great. So fixed income investments are exactly what they sound like. They're investments that you make for a fixed period of time that give you a defined or a fixed return or a fixed amount. So let me give an example. Many of us are familiar with savings accounts. Now, savings accounts are not fixed income investments, but they're similar in that you put your money in a bank, the bank will give you, let's say, 7% per annum. So you have a fixed return, but you're not putting it in for a fixed amount. But if you go to that same bank and you say to the bank, I want to do a fixed deposit. So I want to put my money in for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, maybe 1 year for a fixed amount. So the bank would say, okay, let's say you say I'm putting 100,000 naira in. You put 100,000 naira in a fixed deposit for 1 year. Let's say the bank is paying you, say, 15%. At the end of 1 year, you get your 100,000 naira back plus 15,000, which is the fixed amount or the fixed return. That is an example of a fixed income investment.
You know, nowadays, money is very hard to come by.
Yes, indeed.
And when people get this scarce money, the last thing you want to do is to just keep it lying idle.
Exactly.
So if I want to put my money somewhere, I'll be asking for returns on that investment.
Yes.
So can you tell us, how do these fixed incomes, the investment in fixed income, how do they generate returns for these investors, which they want it to be huge every time?
Mm-hmm. No, and I don't blame investors at all,
Yeah.
but that's a really great question, because just like the bank example I gave, if you think about it, you've said to the bank, I'm going to give you 100,000 naira for a year. So it's almost like you are lending money to the bank, because the bank can take 100,000 naira. They know that they're going to have it for 1 year, and they can then decide how to use it. So they can, for example, lend it to a customer, they can invest it in an instrument that's allowed by the central bank, things like that. So when you're putting money in fixed income investments, invariably you're actually lending money to somebody else who's going to use that money to generate your return. So I'll give you another example. Many people may not know this, but you actually can lend money to the federal government of Nigeria by investing in what they call treasury bills or treasury bonds. Now, when you lend money to the federal government can then take that money. Let's say you put your money in a 1-year treasury bill. The federal government can take that money, use it to pay salaries or to put it as part of what they're using to build a road or something like that. So, and because you've loaned money to the government will pay you a fixed return. So that's how you generate interest or income from your fixed investments, and that's how the person that you're giving the money to uses the money. They use it to generate returns by lending it or using it for business and other things.
And you don't have to know who they lend the money to.
Well, it's important for you to make an investment in a company or an instrument that you're familiar with. So I gave an example of the federal government. If you decide to invest in a federal government treasury bill or a bond, but you can also decide to invest in a company's commercial paper or a company's bond. Those are also fixed income investments. So there are so many companies that are issuing commercial papers and bonds, Dangote Cement, Providus Bank. There's so many examples out there. So again, it's important for you to know the company and to understand, okay, what are they using the money for, and you're comfortable. But then it's good, as you were saying earlier, your money is not idle. It's actually going to generate an interest income for you, which comes back to you along with the original amount that you invested.
In case you're joining us now, Money Talks is on your radio, and it's brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. Captain Smart is right here, and Feyi Olusanya is my guest. Fixed income investment in light of the current interest rate environment is our subject of discussion right here, and we've been talking about this issue. If you want to join the conversation, we'll allow you to call the telephone numbers 0700 923 923 923. That's 0700 923 923 923. You can also call 0818 444 0923. That's 0818 444 0923. Or send us a message on WhatsApp 0817 313 6193. That's 0817 313 6193, including recording voice notes and sending to us to that number. Now, Feyi, let's talk about rates here now.
Yes.
Interest rate and the fact that interest rate can be volatile.
Yes.
So the volatility of the rates there will actually, determine where people take their money to.
Sure.
Can you tell us now how this volatility in interest rate can affect this fixed income investment you're talking about?
Yeah, thanks. It's interesting that you asked that. So interest rates do move, but I think the beauty of the fixed income investments is that once you've done the investment, it's at a fixed rate, so you know what you're getting. So irrespective of if there's movement in the interest rate environment, because your own investment has been determined and fixed, then you know what you're getting and your interest comes to you at the end of it. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Again, the number to call us will be 0818 444 0923. If you want to make an investment, you can ask questions. You have money lying down there in your savings account. People like Feyi will tell you, that's not an investment.
No, it's not.
It's not an
Captain
investment.
Smart, it's not.
So you can ask for how you can put that money to good use so it can earn you some interest actually from the bank. So Feyi, let's talk about implications right now, because when people like you sit behind the microphone, you're talking, they'll say, oh, she sounds sweet. Everything she's saying is just sweet. There's no risk, no problem. Let's talk about implications of the current rate we're talking about now in the environment, on whether they make these things attractive or fixed security. Are they attractive? Can I take my money and go to a bank or an investment house and they tell me 6%? I don't know.
No, they won't. This is the thing. Right now, this is a great time to be having this conversation. Many people who have been following what's happening with the exchange rate, for example, would have seen that the dollar exchange rate went from a high of 1,900 thereabouts to about 1,100. Many people may not know what is driving that movement. One of the things the central bank did was it actually increased what you would call its benchmark rate from about 19% to about 25%. So that's 6 percentage points. And what that means is that when the central bank increases its benchmark rate, everybody else increases their rates too. So this is the best time to be having this conversation, because when maybe your bank was offering you, let's say 8% on a fixed deposit, they might be offering you anything from 10 to 15% now, or now you're seeing companies who are coming out and borrowing from the public, you and I, and they're willing to pay 20, 25%. So the rates have gone up because of the movement in the benchmark rate of the central bank. And so any investor now that's looking at fixed income investments will be finding very nice, very attractive rates. So nothing like the 6% you were talking about, much better, much higher rates, much more attractive to investors.
Does this affect existing investment? Can I call my investment banker and say, oh, we did 9% the other time, the interest rate, the basis points have gone up from the Central Bank of Nigeria, I'm not doing the old rates? Can I make that call?
Absolutely. You should be calling your banker today and saying what's the current fixed deposit. I want to know what rate you're going to offer me, because I am aware that the central bank has increased its benchmark rate by 6%. So what is the rate that you're going to offer me? That's what you should be doing.
So we have to renegotiate.
Absolutely. You should be renegotiating terms with everyone.
Okay. Somebody's listening now and they have this money. They are saying, Feyi, what's in it for me? Before I put my money there, what are the benefits of investing in these fixed income securities, particularly as it has to do with today's Nigeria? I mean, things are tough. People don't have money everywhere. So if I have the one I have, what benefits do I stand to gain if I put them in this investment portfolios you're talking about?
It's an important question, and I think that there's so many benefits from fixed income investments, but I'll just touch on 3. The first one is that fixed income investments are liquid. What do I mean by that? I mean that you can easily get your money back. So if you invest in a fixed income instrument, let's say the fixed deposit example that I gave earlier, let's say you invest in it for 6 months. You say, I do a 6-month fixed deposit with my bank, and then after 3 months you have an emergency and you need that 100,000 naira. You can call your bank and say, guys, I need this money. Can I take my money out? And your bank will give you your money back and then some of your interest. There's obviously a bit of a penalty, but you will get your money back easily and some of your interest. Or if you invest it in a federal government treasury bill or a company's commercial paper, which is another example of a fixed income investment, you can always tell your banker or your broker, oh, I need to get out of that investment. Please, can you sell it? And they're easily sellable. So first thing is you can easily get your money back. Second thing is that they're quite predictable. I talked earlier about the fact that they're fixed investments with fixed outcomes. So you know that if you put that 100,000 naira in your fixed deposit for 1 year and you're getting 15%, you know that is 115,000 naira rather that you're getting. And so you can plan. You can say, I have a payment like rent or school fees or something in a year. You can plan and say, I've invested this money, and then when it comes back, I can then make the payment that is due in 1 year. So it's good for you to be able to plan. Finally, let me just quickly talk about protection from rising prices. very important. Many of us have been pummeled, or we've been beaten up by increasing food prices, transport and fuel, all of that. Now, it gives you, when you're earning an interest in the money, instead of putting it, just leaving it aside or putting it in a bank, then you're earning a higher interest. So it's giving you a bit of protection against this rising prices. So you're going to get more money at the end than you had at the beginning before you made the investment.
Talking about pummeling now, with the increase in prices, you talked earlier about FX rise in exchange rates and how it's gone down now to an all-time low since for like 5 to 6 months.
Yes.
But there's no correlation in prices out there, commodity prices.
Yes.
Is there any correlation between that and the FX prices?
Well, I would say this, that some cynics will tell you that people are quick to increase prices, but prices coming down is harder. I would say that you should expect that over time there should be some adjustments, but I think it will take some time, because if you think about it, people have taken money, they've used it to import products and things like that, so they have to be able to recover some of that from before they can start adjusting. So it might take, I don't know what the cycle is, it could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, but it will take a bit of time before you see some of that come back into the market.
But when it goes up, it doesn't take time for them to
yes, unfortunately life works like that. It goes up and it doesn't
immediately
come down like
goes
that.
up. Even the pepper seller will say it's dollar, and it's dollar that went up. Now dollar has come down, pepper seller is having old stock of pepper.
Yes.
And God will help us in this country.
Amen.
So talking about sectors to invest money now, do you have an advice of specific sectors or types of fixed income securities that somebody can say present particularly attractive opportunities better than others?
Yes, I will say this, maybe not for specific sectors, but I will say this. I talked a little bit about lending money to the federal government. I haven't talked a lot about lending money to companies. Just like the federal government can come to the market and borrow from you and I, the public, companies also do the same things, like I said, through commercial papers, which are short term, like maybe 6 months, 3 months, that kind of thing, and then, or they can borrow longer term through bonds. So it would be interesting for you to look at some of the companies that maybe you think are doing very well, who also are out in the market borrowing, and you can always ask your banker or your broker for the names of those companies. Now, many of those investments pay, I talked about, up to 25-28%, so those are attractive returns, and you can get access to those through your banker or through your broker. But the large number, you'd be amazed at how many companies actually come out and issue commercial papers, but you just need to go ahead and take advantage of these opportunities.
In case you are just listening now, is Feyi Olusanya, who we're talking with in the studio right here, and we're discussing fixed income investment in light of the current interest rate environment. That's what we're talking about here. You can still join the conversation. 0700-923-923-923. That's 0700-923-923-923 or 0818-444-0923. You can send us a message perhaps on 0817-313-6193, or just go to the website and interact there, www.cfsociety.ng.org. When we come back from this break, I have one more question for Feyi. Please don't go away.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Money Talks with CFS Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money.
So I have here Feyi Olusanya, who is talking to us about this particular topic here, fixed income investment in light of the current interest rate environment. I'm sure you've been enjoying the smooth talking, Feyi. I can understand why you just say, please, can you talk? Just continue to talk. Investment looks sweet with Feyi talking like this. So Feyi, before people can make informed decisions, they need materials. They need to learn. They need to be informed, because financial investments are the type that you don't just jump on the bandwagon. You need to actually sit down and look at it properly. So do we have resources out there that are available to help investors to learn more about these fixed income investments you're talking about before they can actually decide where to go?
Yes, absolutely. I think that there's a lot of information out there. I would actually recommend that you can check out CFA Society website. You can actually go to the number of investment type, like Investopedia and things like that just give you a general sense of what these investments are like. But most importantly, I think you can start your journey by having a conversation with your banker. You say to your banker, okay, I have this savings account and I have this 100,000 naira. You know that 100,000 naira we've been talking about? I have it in my savings account, but I want to explore other ways that will give me better interest for a fixed period. So what can you tell me? And ask your banker the questions and all of that. You can also talk to your stockbroker who, if you maybe already invest in equities, maybe you have shares and things like that, you can talk to your stockbroker and your stockbroker will be able to give you advice on what kind of instruments. But ask all the questions, ask about the risk, ask about the rewards, how much am I going to get, which company should I be looking at, and then they'll all be able to help you. But there are opportunities and you should be taking advantage of them.
Are you sure the banker is the best person to ask? Because the same banker who has a target of current and savings account balances, and now you want him to tell you to take out money in your savings account to go put some in some investment so you can make more money.
Well, it's interesting you ask that. The banker, for the fixed deposit, for example, the fixed deposit stays with the bank and it is a fixed income investment. So the banker can say to you, yes, the money moves, but it still stays in the bank. So the banker can say to you, oh yes, we have this, you can put your money for 30 days and this is the interest we're going to get. So the banker can at least do that for you. Yeah.
So Feyi, as we begin to wrap up now, people are looking for more money. So they come around and say many times that the interest rate these banks or these investment houses promise many times are way too low compared to what some other guys can say, okay, if you give us this money, we're going to give you very mouth-watering interest rate there. Sometimes they end up putting the money in Ponzi schemes or giving their money to people who will just scam them and go away. How do they differentiate between those who are promising them interest rates that are too good to be true and where they can put their money, but the interest rates are not so high compared to the other side?
Yes, I think a critical question. You asked a question earlier, Captain, about what the companies or the banks or the government will use the money for. So if you put your money in a fixed income investment, where's that money going? So that's the question that needs to be asked. You need to understand this person that's offering you 40 to 50% returns. Does it really make sense? What are they going to be using the money for? What kind of business do they do? What have they done historically? What have they achieved? So when you look at, let's say you talk to a manufacturing company, so you can see that they have a track record or a history of performance. You can see that they have existing plants. You can see that you buy their products in the market and their products continue to be sold across the country. So there's a real business underlying the investment that people are offering you. Or the example I gave with investing in the federal government treasury bills. You know the federal government of Nigeria actually exists, and you know that the federal government of Nigeria is doing things, so you know that it's not a Ponzi scheme. So you have to be super careful, ask the right questions, check, double check, and triple check. Make sure there's actually an existing underlying business and that you can confirm or verify that before you give your money to anyone. Don't get caught in a Ponzi scheme, guys. There are lots of sharks out there. Be careful.
And this is the very very last one. So many persons have said the money we have or the money we earn is not even enough to cater to the family and all other things, not to talk about savings or investments. Will money ever be enough to save and to invest? How do you advise people in the face of paucity of funds to still go ahead there to pinch themselves to make that investment?
Yes, I think the word you use, pinch themselves, is the right one. Guys, we know it's hard out there, but you have to start small, start building. So even if it's that you say, okay, give yourself a target. I'm going to put 1,000 naira aside, and I'm going to put 2,000, I'm going to put 5,000. They always say that little drops of water make a mighty ocean. You can start small, start putting your money aside, start with the savings account, put it aside, and then when you have a bit more, you can say, for example, if you want to do a fixed income investment, we didn't talk about mutual funds, but there are mutual funds that do fixed income investments that you can start with as little as 5,000 naira. So you can start from there, and then as you grow your money, then you can look at other opportunities, and before you know it, your investment will become a nice little nest egg for you.
The smooth and sweet talking Feyi Olusanya, CFA, who is a director at S&D Integrated Solutions, has been my guest on the program this evening, and we've been talking about fixed income investments in light of the current interest rate environment. Feyi, thank you very much for coming this evening, and we look forward to having you another time very soon.
Thank you very much, Captain Smart. It's been lovely.
That's right. And that's our package for this evening. Join us again next time as we look at another aspect of finance. Of course, CFA Society Nigeria, they're the forefront of financial literacy, and that's exactly what we have done here. You can go to their website, www.cfasocietyng.org, or check them out on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and also on X at CFA Society NG. And you will not make a mistake. Remember, making finance a force for good is what they're all about. Smart Uzechi is my name.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Money Talks, hosted by the CFA Society Nigeria. Stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube at CFA Society Nigeria. Follow us for more financial insight and updates. Keep a date with us next time.